Hello, my name is Mathilde, I'm French and I'm passionate about fashion. Bienvenue dans mon podcast. Rio de Janeiro, a city where fashion is not protected by a luxury system but shaped by reality. A few months ago, I spent time teaching art and English in a favela in Brazil, and what I saw there changed my understanding of fashion. Because fashion here is not a concept, it's a necessity and sometimes a form of resistance. So, here is your question for today. Can fashion be innovative without being part of the traditional luxury system? In other words, can a place like Brazil influence global fashion without owning the same infrastructure as Paris? Well, we will come back to it a little bit later, don't worry. Brazil is one of the largest textile producers in the world, but not a dominant luxury exporter. It's home to a strong domestic industry with thousands of small and medium-sized factories, but limited global fashion conglomerates. These create a very specific model, strong internal production, but fragmented global visibility. Let's talk about concrete example. One of the most influential Brazilian designer is Alexandre Hercovitch. His name is on the description, so you can easily dive into his work and discover his work for yourself. And trust me, what he creates is truly something special, almost impossible to look away from. He started in the 90s and became known from bringing punk influences and underground culture into high fashion. He's one of the first to show that Brazilian identity could exist in a global fashion context without copying European codes. Another key figure is Oskar Metsavaht, founder of Osklen, and this is where things get very interesting. Long before sustainability became a marketing buzzword in luxury, Osklen was already building a different model.
Wow.
Metsavaht introduced what he called e-fabrics, materials that are environmentally responsible, traceable, and often locally sourced. These include organic cotton, Amazonian materials, and recycled textile. But here is the key insight. Sustainability is not used as storytelling, it is embedded into business model. It's on 2015 that Osklen became part of the B Corp movement, which certifies company based on social and environmental performance. This is extremely important because it's connected to sustainability, to accountability, and not just image. Brazil also faces a very specific challenge, its proximity to the Amazon rainforest. And this has a direct impact on fashion, because materials like natural fibers and plant-based resources come from highly sensitive ecosystems. And this creates both opportunity for innovation, of course, but also responsibility for ethical sources. Now, let's compare. In Paris, brands like Chanel, Louis Vuitton operate in a highly structured system controlled by supply chain, centralized production, but also strong brand heritage. But in Brazil, it's different. In Brazil, you have decentralized production, independent designer, and a strong link to local culture. This means that Brazil is less about global dominance and more about the influence of ideas. I think that Brazil's impact on fashion is often underestimated, but it influenced sustainability thinking, cultural authenticity, and material innovation. For example, the idea of integrating natural ecosystem, local community into fashion process, it's something that many global brands are now trying to adopt. Let's take a moment to break down some key terms from today's episode so you can not only understand the idea but also speak the language of fashion industry. The first one is supply chain. This is the entire process behind a product, from raw materials to production to distribution. In luxury, supply chains are highly controlled, and in Brazil, they are often more decentralized. And the second one is about sustainability. You heard this word everywhere, but in fashion, it means creating product in a way that respects both environment and the people involved in production. The third one is traceability. This is the ability to track where a product comes from every step on the way, from the origin of the fabrics to the final garments. And finally, innovation. In fashion, innovation does not mean new designs. It's also mean like new materials, new business model, new way of producing clothes. So next time you heard these words, you won't just understand them, but you will be able to use them. If you ever feel like taking 5-minute trip somewhere on the world of fashion, just let me know where to go next. I will pack the story, I promise. You bring your curiosity.